Welcome to Chasing the Wild Wonder podcast.
Yes.
We are
Whoa, you're just like taking over.
Yeah.
I was the one that decided I wanted to do this tonight. Well, I thought it would be fun to share the first funny thing that happened today.
Oh, I was going to start out with what we're doing.
Oh, well, if you aren't already following us, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is a podcast. Like, it could be someone who's never...
Okay. So we're Chasing the Wild Wonder. And we've started, this is our third time starting.
A podcast?
Nope. Well, potentially. But I feel like this is our third, start. Like, we went to Boise. And then we went to Texas. And now it's like third time's the charm. We actually have a huge question mark at the end of our life right now. Like, we don't have to be anywhere. We're not going for a job. We're just traveling.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start this over because...
Babe, you can't just take it.
No.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
I meant like I'm gonna start the story.
Okay.
Because your story is very confusing and out of context.
Okay.
So, welcome to the Chasing the Wild Wonder podcast. I'm your host, Ben Figueredo. And
I'm
my
Lacey.
co-host. And my co-host, my
Lacey.
lovely wife.
Babe, you keep adding things.
And if you're new here, if you haven't been following Chasing the Wild Wonder on YouTube or Instagram, which is kind of our two main platforms, we are currently living in an RV, a travel trailer, and we moved, and it's been about a year and a half now, right? Yeah, since last April 2021. And so that was a long story that we're not going to go over right now. But we are currently traveling to Tennessee from Idaho for a business retreat that Lacey has for her non-toxic skincare company that she is an ambassador for, and they have lots of cool stuff. But anyway, we're super excited to get over to that retreat and have her just spend some time with the other people in the company. How do I want to say this? See,
Okay, I'm just going to start over.
You went off on this whole tangent.
No. Okay, guys, welcome to the Chasing the Wild Wonder podcast. I'm Lacey, your host, with my co-host. Okay, here's the difference between Ben and I. Ben has to figure out how to do this perfectly, and I don't. Because we're just going to sit here and tell stories and have fun with it. You get to be perfect and do your thing on the video. So I'm going to go ahead and take over, okay? I'm going to tell you a story, and then we will get into the fact that we are doing the damn thing. Tonight, we get to our park in Swan Valley. It's beautiful. We were really excited to be here. We're super bummed that the owners aren't here because they are also a family that lives in an RV, but another time. Anyways, I'm cooking dinner or getting the trailer ready, and I look outside, and Ben has on his face this kind of laughing smile, and he's like, what the heck? And I yell out to him. I was like, babe, what's the matter? Is everything okay? And you're like, come out here. And so I would like you to tell everyone what you saw.
Well, what I saw was the black tank drain hose. And if you're not familiar with RV stuff, I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a...
It's like a hose holder.
It's a hose holder, but it holds it high on the receiving end and low, where it dumps out, so that it keeps the hose basically at a downhill slant, so no water gets...
And the water goes down to the drain.
So anyway, I walk over and I see it all set up beautifully, except that it's running uphill
into the drain.
And so I'm like, Lacey, do you think water can go uphill?
And I just proceeded to laugh because I had no idea this hose holder did such a beautiful thing. And now I know. So we got to laugh about that. And it was
That was
great.
pretty funny. And I realized this entire time you've never like set up the sewer. You've dumped it,
Yeah, I'll dump it.
but you've never actually hooked it up to like the
No, not with this new thing.
Yeah.
So I've lived in an RV for a year and a half. We've lived in an RV for a year and a half, and there's always something new to learn. That's the best part about this. It's like always an adventure, and what's going to come next, we have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, like.
It's true.
So with that, we'll give you a little glimpse of, we have been living in an RV for a year and a half, and we will go into details maybe at another time on that particular story and how we got into it. But what we really wanted to do was, is that me or you?
That's me.
Oh.
Russell.
We can go into that story of how just our lives changed so fast moving into an RV. I would say it's a pretty incredible story because we just kind of got thrown into a dream of what we ultimately wanted. We just thought it would be this
Just looked a little differently.
perfect Airstream and Instagram life into real life.
Real life.
So we just thought, like, my heart with this podcast was, let's just start telling funny stories that come up. Let's share the journey along the way and kind of see where it goes for those who may be interested to hear, I don't know, just RV life stuff. But I think the main one and the topic that I really wanted to talk about today was the fact that we're doing the damn thing. And what we mean by that is, it's like third time is a charm. We moved a little bit outside of our hometown for a little bit for work, and then we came back to our hometown, and then we got a job opportunity in Texas, and we left for 6 months, came back to Idaho, and now we're going to Tennessee with no like job. There's not a huge
No money.
yeah, no money. And we are just doing this. We're choosing to just go for it and literally take a step into the unknown.
Yeah. Like literally when I said that on the YouTube video, I wasn't kidding.
I know. So tell them a little bit about what we're doing. Now you share about kind of the heart. Like what are we doing? What does this mean? Where are we going?
Yeah, I'll do a quick summary because you can go watch the YouTube video and get a really good idea of it. But basically, we were going to renovate an Airstream so that we could live in that full time. Didn't work out. Got this trailer, like Lacey said, and now we are on the road. And my original idea for living in a trailer and wanting to travel was like I wanted to not be stuck in one place, and I wanted to. And I've always had a heart for like traveling, adventuring, seeing new places and exploring and all that stuff. So it was like, oh, of course that would be fun. But it was also this bigger goal of like, especially for our kids, not having them grow up in a bubble.
Yeah, we live in a very tiny town at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you were living in the city, like it's still a bubble in its own, right? It doesn't matter like the size of where you live. It's one place. And people tend to, I mean, there's always like divisions on one extreme or the other, but people tend for the most part to get into groupings when they live that close and with the same ideas and all that stuff. And so it's like, oh, let's go out and explore and see different perspectives and different ideas and different cultures, and so that we can learn from all these things, and like actually like be involved in meeting new people and being involved in different communities and seeing what people are doing.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, people, including us, spent a lot of time inside.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Couldn't go to work, so it gave us a lot of time to research and watch documentaries and explore and get new ideas, from that way. And so then we saw Kiss the Ground. We saw The Biggest Little Farm.
Favorite documentary ever.
We saw the documentary called Need to Grow, which was really cool. And then that kind of just expounded and like more research into all these things. And so anyway, that led us and inspired us to really want to grow a farm. I guess I should say Kiss the Ground and the Biggest Little Farm, as the title says, are about farming. They're about agriculture. They're about the fact that the way we farm now in most of the world with tilling and monocropping, which means one crop. So you'd have a giant field of corn or a giant field of wheat, and you do the harvest and then you till the ground, which means you basically just tear it up, and then that way you can plant new seeds into it and then do it all over again. But that tilling, that tearing up of the ground, is killing and releasing all the microorganisms that are in the soil. And so that's causing the soil to die. It's called erosion. Erosion is when soil turns to dirt. So anyway, that is leading to most of the world's soil being eroded and having no nutrients and having not a ideal environment to grow, which is releasing a lot of the carbon into the air, causing, warming of the environment or change in the environment. It's an imbalance basically. And so this is a long explanation, but
That's why this
that
is
gave
on the
us,
podcast.
I
love
know.
this. You can only share so much on a video, and you can only do so much on Instagram. We're like, let's start a podcast because we have lots inside our brains.
It's like those are like, it's like short, medium, long. The podcast is long form, so I hope you're here for the conversation because this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, we realized that the way we're farming is just not good for the environment. It's not good for our health because there's no nutrients in the food. And it's really just all about profits. It's about how fast can you do it? How much can you get out of a single year? Which on one side, it's like, the farmers, of course we want them to make money, but unfortunately, they're not making any money because most of it goes to the corporations anyway, the people that they sell it to. The corporations buy it for dirt cheap, and then they sell it for more. They're the ones making the profit, and the farmers are doing all the hard work and barely getting by. And that's why a lot of them have to go on government subsidies, which means that the government is basically paying them to grow a certain crop. Well, the only food that the government wants grown is soy, corn, and wheat. And the soy and the corn is definitely 90 to 100% genetically modified GMO. And wheat is, most of it's GMO. If you could find good wheat, you're lucky. And if it's not GMO, I mean, it's definitely all sprayed with glyphosate and toxic pesticides. And that food, even if it wasn't GMO or pesticide sprayed, that is just not food. That's not what humans were made to eat. It's not good for you. But it's all based on profit because those crops are just grow really fast. You can sell the farmers the fertilizers because they've killed the soil, so now they're having to inject the soil with synthetic fertilizer, what they call an input. But now what they're finding is that as the years go by, they're getting less and less crops, and they're having to put more and more inputs into it, which is actually costing them more money that they're buying from the corporations, the same corporations that are buying their food for dirt cheap. It's just this very, very corrupt system. So we have decided to fix it.
We are going to just change the world.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. I mean, but what is that? I always laugh about that. Like, change the world, and it feels so daunting, but it's like, well, you start by your family, and then you start by your community.
Yeah.
I feel like in our life, by changing the world, we've started to learn about this, and now our goal is to go travel and go stay at different farms and learn because our kids want, 400 chickens and I want at least 2 cows.
Yeah, so we're combining these two ideas, these two dreams of like
travel,
owning a farm and actually like managing the land in harmony with the earth and with nature, and not this what is basically raping of the land. And I know that's a harsh word, but it's a harsh thing that's happening. There's no other way to explain it. But to be able to own our own land and do that. But it's like we have no we have no experience and no background in farming. I don't even know if anyone in my family is a farmer or if anyone in your family is a farmer.
Gardens.
Yeah, like we have zero experience, but we have a lot of passion about it.
Yeah, we both
And
know
so,
that's like something we
yeah,
want to ultimately do.
yeah. And so it was like we were very close in thinking like, oh, let's just buy land now and start doing that. But then it's like we still wanted to travel. We still got the taste of travel for when we moved to Texas
And we have the
and
travel
came back.
bug.
Yeah, we got the travel bug. And
Sitting stationary in a trailer is really not that fun.
yeah. But so it's like, why don't we travel? Because then we can go to cool places and we can explore and we can do these things, go to national parks and stuff like that. But we can also, while we're there, stay even longer and find a regenerative farm or a biodynamic or something that is practicing these different things, or even if it's a small homestead, or if it doesn't have to be like a giant operation, it can be like, what are you guys doing to get started, and like what have you learned, and help them. Well, lo and behold, there's a program called WOOF, which is WWOOF, and that stands for Worldwide Organization of Organic Farmers. And it's basically this directory that you can sign up to be a woofer, quote unquote, or you can sign up to be a host. Well, all these host farms sign up and they get connected with woofers that want to go and help on farms and learn about farming. And it's basically set up as this cultural educational exchange. It's really cool because if you're like us and you have no idea about farming, but you are interested in the idea, or even if you want to just learn how to grow your own garden in your backyard, and you just want to know where to start, you can go stay on a farm that's doing what you want to do, and they put you up, give you lodging, and a lot of them will do at least one meal a day, provided like food from the farm or groceries or whatever. And it's usually a meal that's like that you guys all have together, and you share and you be part of that community, which is really cool. Which
is like our heart.
Yeah,
like
another aspect.
We long for like-minded people and community.
Yeah.
On this journey, especially because I feel like RV life, it's fun. You get to meet people, but it can also be lonely once in a while. Like, oh, we don't have a community to just be in. It grows our family unit, but then we get to do this with like-minded people.
Yeah, like I was saying, and learn different cultures, and so it's like all of that idea wrapped up in one. And then so it's this cultural exchange where you agree to work at least 20 hours a week, half the day, every day that you're there, in exchange for room and board and some food and stuff like that. So, well, we signed up and basically put our whole story on there, our mission, and what we're looking to do. And I just realized I actually haven't got a farm to actually stay at yet. I've messaged several of them, but only one of them got back to me, so that's kind of interesting. Because I'm pretty sure there's like a rule that you have to respond within a certain amount of time. I found a handful of farms in Tennessee that I think would be pretty good. I think I had higher expectations when I was looking, so I got kind of disappointed because I was like, I don't know what farm I want to stay at. But I also I've never done this before, so I really don't know what to expect. So I'm almost kind of like, why don't I just pick one that will, take us and has a right situation for maybe a spot to park the RV or something like that, or even if we just park the RV on the property and then they have like a guest house or something, I'd be fine with that too. But just to let's just go and do it, and it doesn't have to be whatever my idea of a perfect experience would be, but it'd just be like, oh. And if it's not working out, if it's kind of weird or whatever, we just leave. Be like, sorry, we're out.
Yeah.
What's nice is that there's no commitment, But it's cool because it also helps us save money because we're not paying RV parks to stay for 2 weeks or something, And then we still have the rest of the half of the week to go explore and have fun, or to get other work done that we need to get done.
Did we say why we're going to Tennessee? I don't think I did. So why
I did
Tennessee?
At one point, but it might have been the edited out part.
So Tennessee, why are we going to Tennessee? We are actually traveling to go to my non-toxic skincare. It's through MIG Retreat. And so it is our once a year convention that we get together. We get to just go be together in community and with so many incredible other women and ambassadors and some men too. But it's just, so that's kind of why we are headed to Tennessee first. And I've always wanted to go experience Tennessee. Tennessee has always been something that's been on my heart to go visit. Maybe it's the fall colors. I don't know. So we're doing it. We're just going. It worked out perfectly that convention was in Tennessee. And then from there, like we said,
Well, it didn't really matter where the convention was because we would just be traveling there.
Yeah, but it just happened to be Tennessee.
Oh, because you wanted to go.
Because I want to go to Tennessee.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, like, it was perfect. We just moved from Colorado. It's usually in Colorado every year. Headed to Tennessee. And then from there, our goal is to stay in warmer places because we actually only have a 3-season.
For the winter, yeah.
Yeah, for the winter. We have a 3-season RV, which means...
Might be 2 seasons.
Might be 2 seasons. That has
summer
plywood.
And late summer.
Yeah, it's cold and it's insane just how not insulated this is. So at the same time, we've been eyeballing like other, we have our hearts on a couple. We're learning a lot actually. Like, we got into this. It was what we had.
Yeah.
And it's allowing us to stay into warmer places during the winter and go explore. Yeah. But like we want to do this full time for a couple years.
Yeah. And even if we end up buying land, like we're not going to have, we might not have a house right away. It might just be undeveloped land that we buy. And so it's like, let's have a comfortable trailer that we can park on our land as we're developing it. And then
that can go through all seasons.
That can go through all seasons because we don't know, where we're actually going to settle or buy land. We're, thinking of northern Idaho, which is actually the winters there are more mild than they were in Sun Valley where we were living and where we're trying to get away from.
But it still snows, so I still have a hard time thinking about that.
But they said it rains more than snows.
Rain's even worse, babe.
I don't know.
It's like wet.
Yeah, it's wet, but then it goes away, and it's not sitting on the ground. Like,
true.
There's this stuff that just fell out of the sky, and I have to deal with it now.
Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, we wanted to share just where we are today. Like, we left today.
Yeah, we left today from your mom's house, your parents' house.
Yep, from Idaho. Well,
and and to be honest with you guys, we're going to share this with you not because we want your sympathy or or anything, but we wanted to share because we want you to know that this is possible, or maybe it's impossible. We'll find out, but
we'll let you know.
you're going to hear about it. Basically, we spent September and the end of August in Haley, and we went there with a certain amount of money as I had jobs and with a plan that our online stuff would hopefully start kicking in and making some money.
Which it didn't.
Which it did not really do. And so we watched our money dwindle down. And, this was mainly just groceries that we were buying and, paying bills, of course. Yeah, our bank account is pretty low right now.
And we laugh about it because...
We're laughing because, we know in our hearts and our souls
that we had to
deep
leave.
in that we had to leave. There was just no staying there. It's just not conducive to growth right now for us, and a lot of negative energy in the valley. So we left. So we're like, we got to get out of here. And we knew when we went back in June for a wedding and a hike and everything to hang out, and we both left there being knowing that this is not our home anymore. Mm-hmm. There's no way we would come back. Except for
to visit and enjoy,
except for a quick visit.
A person.
But permanently, for long term, no way. So anyway, being back this time, it was very...
Soul-sucking?
Soul-sucking is a great term. But it was just hard. And I had a great time. I loved being outside and elk hunting and, just getting that experience, especially being able to take Parker and having a really cool elk hunting experience, which maybe we could talk about on another podcast. But
you guys have to do a podcast together.
Yeah, that would be fun. I had this intuitive feeling, like from the beginning, that it was going to be like, because here's the thing, guys. Like, we really want to get the new trailer, but we're also going to need a new truck to pull that trailer. So we're here, like, really, like, okay, thinking, like, it would be really nice if we can get those two things before we left Idaho.
Which we were gonna sell our
Which
Airstream
we
and
are,
like had a whole
yeah.
plan
Like,
to
we're
do.
selling the Airstream so we can get a chunk of money, all these things. And it would work out, with and being able to sell the Suburban, then selling this trailer. It would get us the means to do all that. Well, for whatever reason, the Airstream didn't sell.
It's like a
It's like one
sick
of those
joke.
things where, like, everyone's like, "Oh, that'll sell easy. Like, it's so hot right now. It's so hot right now." But
It didn't
I
sell?
put it everywhere. I put it on every website. Everyone said, put it on Facebook, Craigslist, all the Airstream stuff, and no one even asked about it. I do have one guy who's semi-interested in it right now. We'll see where that goes. But anyway, the whole idea of us leaving in a truck and a trailer that we wanted, a new truck and a new trailer, just didn't happen. And not only that, but we have pretty much no money to put gas in our car right now. And it's like, we're just kind of watching it. So I'm like, okay, I had this feeling that it was just like, we are leaving and we are going to have to rely 100% on God to get us there. Like, there is no doubting at this point, because
We already jumped off the
we
ledge.
already jumped off the cliff. Like, we're free falling at this point. And it's like, we're going to be caught or not.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. And it's like, I do believe that we're going to get there, like to Tennessee at least. Like, I do. And I believe that somehow, like, I don't know, I'm just going in this every day, like, expecting miracles, expecting big things to happen, because the only other option is to completely fail. And that, to me, is not an option.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's go. And I feel like if it's really exciting, it's really cool, because in the game of life, you kind of get to choose, like, what are you going to do? Am I going to stay because I see this impossibility? Am I going to stay in a place that is pretty much killing me one day at a time? It's a little extreme, but it felt like it at some points. But still, it's like you're in a unhappy situation, or you're in an undesirable situation.
It wasn't even that, I feel like.
But like, in any case where it's like you're in something that's not fulfilling.
Yeah, okay.
It's not what you want to be doing with your life. You're kind of just getting stuck in this routine. And then it'd be like, all right, I guess I'll go get a 9-to-5 job working for someone else where I get barely any pay, just so we can barely get by, so we can just survive, basically. And then it's like, oh, we're back in the same situation where we're not leaving because we don't have money, so we're staying so that we can save up money to leave. But then we can't leave because we don't have enough money to save up. And that's what it's felt like for the last 10 years, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It felt like it was like we were just stuck in this loop of a negative feedback loop. Like, we're trying so hard, and then we go down, and then it's like this circle. And so I was like, oh, if we don't leave now, we're going to go back into that feedback loop. And we're again going to not do our dreams. And so I was like, it's either that or go live out our dreams for as long as possible. If we run out of money, we run out of money, I guess, and then we'll figure it out from there. But at least we're doing the damn thing that we always said we wanted to do, and always, like, basically preached about, is like getting out of escaping the nine. Like, why are we doing this, the 9-to-5, or why are we just doing these, like, meaningless routines just to survive, when we're not actually, like, thriving? We're not, like, having fun with what we're doing in life. And yeah, there might be those moments of fun, and those glimpses, but it's like, all right, I guess I'll go back to work now, and I'll go, and it's like And then we have vacations. What is a vacation? Oh, it's the 1 or 2 weeks out of my whole entire year where I get to go just relax and have fun and not think about the things that I have to think about every day. What if I didn't need a vacation
From life.
from life? What if my whole life was a vacation? But it was also a mission. Like, it wasn't just to go have fun and like leisure and lounge around and do nothing, but it's like something fulfilling where you're like on a mission to make the world better for the kids, you know, or your kids, the next generation, or whatever, or even for yourself.
Well, what I want to say is that we're finally getting out of the loop, and that's coming from me, who has always been living in a lot of fear and scared to move forward and just jumping into things unless we knew, okay, we're leaving Idaho to Texas for a job, right? That was a lot easier. Today I was like, oh my gosh, we're just doing it. But it did feel...
Yeah, and we actually
like we had to. Like we just had to leave, and here we are. And it's like, I mean, I used to cry on the countertop, like, you need to go get another job. Like, how are we going to survive? And I'm like, well, we're going to figure it out. Like, we have to, because we both know that it was time to go. And it was, for you, it's funny. I was sharing with Ben the other night. I'm like, oh, you're finally living your dream of like the dangerous life, of this idea of like running and just getting to do it. And like, you get thrilled. Like, this is a thrill for you. I'm along for your ride right now. I feel like you love living life on the edge, and you're like, sure, let's do it. And I'm usually like, let's bring you back to earth and let's talk about reality, which is from fear in the past. And now I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Without holding too much on the outcome, because there is that little bit of fear still inside me that we're not going to make it to Tennessee. I want to be there. I desire to be there so bad. But at the same time...
all your doubts will soon be wiped away.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to hold on to it too tightly, because then you do miss the adventure along the way, because you only want this one thing. So I'm just kind of here and I would say like we're doing this together, like we're obviously laughing and having fun, but I'm also trying not to allow the fear for the first time in my life to hold us back. But that's a weird balance too, in being a parent and having 2 kids and taking care of them, and it not just being you and I.
Yeah.
So anyways, welcome to all of our truths.
Yeah, it is scary, but I don't know. It's also at the same time, it's like the most radically authentic and abandoned that you can be. And it's in these situations where I feel like we as a society do not have situations enough. Like, we're not put in enough situations where there's real stakes.
No, we just live in social media land.
Yeah. I mean, I know for the most part, it's like, oh, you know, I could, like, if I don't pay my rent, I won't have a place to stay. Like, that's a real stake. But at the same time, most of us can easily just go get a job, if it's a dead-end fast food restaurant job, whatever. You know, but you can at least do, at the very minimum, get enough to pay rent and have some crappy food to eat, you know? That's like the least trying you can do. But what kind of life is that? You just kind of go through life again and kind of like a zombie, and then you're just living. You're literally working just so you can live. And the only reason, and if that's the only, like it's just a weird,
what's the point of life?
Yeah, what's the point of life? You're just working. Like, you're living to work and working to live.
But at the end of life, it's going to be this golden last 20 years of your life, being able to live and retire.
When you're 80 years old, my goal is to be just vibrant and exuberant when I'm 80 years old. And be like looking good. just healthy,
Still
you know?
being able to perform real good.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
No, I just want to feel good. I don't want to go out like, oh, walking with a cane and like, oh, I can't barely move. I think that is abnormal. But anyway, that's another podcast.
We'll have lots coming.
We'll have lots. Like, Chasing the Wild Wonder is not just going to be about RV life. That's a big part of it. But it's very much our hearts and our lifestyle, which RVing is a part of. But it's rewilding, which is, for me, realizing that right now we're kind of at the precipice of this very dangerous cliff, and we have it's a fork in the road, I guess, and we have these two realities that we can choose from going forward. And one is going to be in this very digital, modern, technological age, where we have a lot of these technologies that, yes, I won't lie, have been very beneficial with, the internet and being able to call someone instantly or even see their face. All that stuff is great. And it's been allowed us to communicate and learn a lot of information, even though we're probably learning too much information too quickly. A lot of the modern technology that has provided benefits has also come with a lot of detriments to the environment, to our health, all these things. And so I think there's a way where we can rewild, which is getting back to the traditional ancestral ways of living in nature, and not necessarily being wild where you don't have a house or clothes or anything like that. But it's like the idea of still learning from what we have technologically learned in the modern age, but then applying it in a way that is 100% in harmony with nature. I think that, yes, fossil fuels are probably not that big of a problem, but I think that isn't the best way that we could be running off our cars, because we know of free energy devices and different things like that cars can run off of free energy power or even water, and we know that water is, plentiful, like never-ending source of water on this planet. So there's better ways to do things that can also be healing and in harmony with the planet. So that is our mission, is to talk about a lot of these things and what we're doing, products that we have found, ways that we are accomplishing that lifestyle and kind of getting away from as much as we can, because obviously we're still recording a podcast right now on, microphones that are using wireless transmission, although they're not right now, but we use our cell phone to post videos on Instagram and things like that. We are using these technologies, but we're also doing different things to, we're making sure that at night that they're not in our rooms. Like we have our boundaries with them, and it's like we're using them for our good to get to communicate and get this message out and share our experience with people. But we're also taking precautions and steps to make sure that the technology, that we are the ones using the technology and the technology isn't using us. It's a hard balance because we don't want to spend time on social media all the time, but we also want to share, with you guys and with our, followers who we appreciate. And so, yeah, and we also don't want our followers to just be on social media all the time consuming our content or other people's content. So it's I guess it's about finding this balance. So that's what a lot of rewilding is, and getting back to the, even in our food and our diet, like realizing that getting away from the toxins and getting the modern processed foods, all the seed oils and stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, let's rewild the way we eat and go back to more natural ways of living. Realizing that, oh, raw milk isn't bad for you. In fact, it's actually really, really good for you and important, and it has a lot of enzymes. And when you pasteurize milk, which is the way that all milk in the grocery stores pretty much are done, they basically just heat it up to kill all the bacteria in it. Well, bacteria isn't necessarily bad for you, but it also kills all the enzymes that actually help you break down the proteins that are in the milk. And so when you don't have those enzymes, your body doesn't know how to break it down or digest it. And so then you end up with so-called intolerances. You get lactose intolerant, or you get, inflammation or things like that. Well, it's because you're destroying the milk and you're ending up with this crappy product, And we do that in the name of being sanitary or for health. So anyway, we will be talking a lot about all these things that we are all really passionate about, besides RV life and farming and all that. But it all kind of goes hand in hand. It's all kind of around this idea of rewilding your life and rewilding your lifestyle for the betterment of your body, for your health, for your kids, for your environment, for your neighborhood, your community. There's a reason for it. Like, I think if we continue, so that's what it is, like getting back to the real reality, not this digital reality, and really realizing that's like we can't continue to ignore what we're doing over here in the real world and get lost in the digital one, if that makes sense. So that's a lot of
you could go in 17 directions right now because you're like, you have so much in there. I'm like, I can't wait to do more podcasts to bring it all out. I've been begging Ben to do a podcast. I'm like, let's do all the podcasts so I can hear and learn from you. But that's Chasing the Wild Wonder. This is our mission, our goal, our hearts. And
all right. Well, thank you for watching, and I'm sure we will record an intro and an outro at some point. Put on the end of this.
Thank you for watching. Clearly, he's used to YouTube, not podcasts.
Oh, did I say watching? Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
The end.